We're here with the 5th lesson of our SPSS from Scratch series. In our previous lesson, we explained how to calculate the final scale scores. We had calculated the total score and subscale scores you see on the screen right now and added them to our dataset. The topic of this lesson, again as part of the preliminary preparations before analyses, is reorganizing the groups of a categorical variable. We often need to do this in our studies. That's why I think it's important to explain this. We will once again explain our lesson using the sample survey and the current dataset shown on the screen. If you want to follow along with me, we will continue working on the SPSS file we used in the previous lesson, which you can see on the screen right now. If you didn't do the previous lesson with us, you should download the file named Lesson 5, which is the version of this file at the end of the previous lesson. You can find where to download the file in the video description. I'm assuming you've paused the video and downloaded the file, so let's get started with our lesson without wasting any time. The topic of our lesson is reorganizing the groups of a categorical variable. What do we mean by this? I'd like to explain this using our survey here. I'd like you to pay attention to the third question. In the third question, we asked participants about their level of education and asked them to indicate it by selecting one of 5 options. The options here were illiterate, elementary school graduate, middle school graduate, high school graduate, and university graduate. However, later on in our study, we realized that instead of these 5 options, we actually need a 3-tier structure: those who haven't completed school, those who graduated from middle or high school, and university graduates. For example, we want to compare these groups in our study. We no longer need these 5 separate options. This process is what we call recoding the groups of a categorical variable. Here, we have a variable, the education level variable. It has groups. There are 5 groups. We want to reduce these groups to 3 and organize them the way we want. How can we do this easily in SPSS? In this lesson, we will show you how to do that. To do this, what we need to do is go to the Transform menu here. After going to the Transform menu, in one of our previous lessons, we talked about reverse coding. Just like we did in reverse coding, we need to go to this menu here, recode into different variables. If we want to do this by overriding the variable, then we need to select this option here, recode into same variables. I don't recommend doing this. I suggest keeping the original variable in your dataset. I recommend saving the new categories as a new variable here. That's why I'm moving on to the option below, recode into different variables. When we click on this, the window you see here opens up. We explained this earlier. Which variable do we want to process here? We want to process the education level variable here. We select it and move it to the right, and it asks us, under what name should we save the education level as a new variable? SPSS is asking us this. Let's rewrite it as education_level_new with an underscore and add new at the end. Or we could have written it as 3_group or 3_grp. I think it's appropriate to write it this way. I don't think it's necessary to write the label here. Later, we can copy and paste the label here, and then we click change. When we do this, we can see that the operation we want to perform appears here. We will turn the education level variable into a new variable called education level new. Now, we move on to entering the old and new codes. How do we do that? Old and new values. We click on this. In the window that opens, it first asks us, what is the old value? What should I do after the new value? It asks that here as well. If our old value is 1, we want to see it as 1 again. We will assign it the code 1, but we will change the name here in a moment. We add this. Let what was 1 before stay as 1. Then, 2 should stay as 2, 3 should become 2, and 4 should also become 2. We need to enter it here like that. We need to do it like this. 2 stays as 2, add, 3 here also becomes 2, add, then wherever you see 4, it also becomes 2, add, and wherever you see 5, here, 5 becomes 3, and you can enter it like this. We can do it this way. 1s will stay as 1, and 2s, 3s, and 4s will become 2. Wherever you see 5, it will become 3, and then when we say continue, we can finish our process. But I also want to show a different method here. I want you to learn this as well. We can also do it like this. We say remove like this, remove this 1 too, and remove this 1 as well. So, we say remove it from here. Make the 1s into 1, the 5s into 3, and for the rest, all other values. We can also write our code like this, make the remaining values into 2. Then we say add, and you'll see an expression here like else make it 2. We can also do it this way. After we say continue and then click OK, our process comes to this point. I'm moving this down and a new variable is added here. The new education level variable has been added here. Now, what I need to do is copy the education level label from here and then paste it here. If you want, you can also write something new here, but I want it to stay as education level. And then, before I forget, we also need to add the codings here. I right-click on the education level over here, select copy, and then come over here. I right-click, select paste here, and then by opening it like this, I can make my changes here. First, I selected this, and now I want to change its name to did not finish school. After changing it to did not finish school, I want to select the two from here to do it. Let me copy the phrase primary, middle, high school graduate from here like this, and then come over here and paste it here. Let me say change like this, so now 2 becomes like this. Next to 3, we want to write university graduate. So, we can do it like this. First, we move this away, then we delete this from here, and change the code here to 3. We say change. Now our codes are 1, 2, 3, and the labels we want appear next to them. After that, we can say OK. When we do this, it will be completely added here. And this way, we have saved our variable with its groups changed as a new variable in our dataset. After this, I also want to do a similar process for the 5th question. If you remember the 5th question, and as you can see here, it was a question about where they live. We recorded the place of residence variable not as numeric, but as a string. In other words, we recorded it verbally. Now, I want to double-click like this to go to the data view. We had written out the districts explicitly like this. If we want to do some grouping with this, or if we want to change the grouping, how can we do it? I also want to show this. There are no groups here, but as I mentioned earlier, there are different labels here, the names of different districts. I want to show how we can change these if we want to. To do this, I'm going back to the variable view. I'm going back to the menu we used earlier. From here, I go to recode into different variables. And here, by pressing the reset button at the bottom, I want to reset the actions we've done here. I've reset it. So, which variable are we going to work on next? We're going to work on the place of residence variable. I'm moving it to the right side, and I'm naming it like this. I'm coding it as place underscore of underscore residence underscore new again. Then I click on change and go to old and new values. This time, what we need to do is, for example, in our dataset, we have the districts of Epsiler and Cucixegmus. I want to create a group called Epsiler Cucixegmus, and then I want to change the other districts to other. According to the purpose of my research, having 2 groups, one is Epsiler Cucixegmus and the other is other, is enough for me. How can we do this? First, we write Epsiler here. Then, we need to enter the name of the new variable here. But since this is a string variable, we first need to check this option here. Output variables are strings, meaning the variables I will write as output will be strings, and then here is the width, which, as we mentioned before, refers to the number of characters. Let's set this to 50. We can write 50 here, and then we write it over here. We can write Epsiler-Cucixegmus like this. Let it be Epsiler, Cucixegmus. Epsiler is the place we see. I want to copy this right now like this. I'll use it again in a bit, like this. We click Add. Change the place where you see Epsiler to Epsiler Cucixegmus. And for the place where you see Cucixegmus, again, I just paste it like this. By making it Epsiler Cucixegmus, we're specifying it like this. For the rest, for all other values, we say let them come with their other names in a new variable. We also click Add for this, and then we click Continue. Then we click OK. We see that this process has also been completed and added here. The next thing we need to do is take the place of residence label here and paste it over there. After that, we don't do anything here, because this is a string data. We can see that, thanks to the process we just did, it has automatically come here as a string value. Now I want to take a look at my data. When I double-click here, let me move a bit to the left like this, I can access my variable. I see that there are other texts here, but right here, there's an entry like Epsiler Cucixegmus. We can see this more clearly like this. We can drag the variable here under place of residence by holding it like this. We can bring it right underneath like this. When we switch back to the data view, let me open this area up a bit as well. We see that Sile is marked as other, Arnavutkoe is also other, Cucixegmus is Epsiler Cucixegmus, and Epsiler is again Epsiler Cucixegmus. In this way, we've explained how to change categories or group labels based on string data. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, you can ask them below the video. If you like the video, I'd appreciate it if you could give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe. I wish you ease in your work. See you in our next videos.